To the uninitiated, Carol Ann Duffy is a Scottish poet and playwright who made history by being appointed as Great Britain's first woman poet laureate. And it only took 400 years. Now, while Duffy's verse is widely acclaimed for her feminist and otherwise radical takes, I find that I am more drawn by the sense of emotional urgency embedded in her verse, which comes to life in full technicolor through her choice of words and style. And in opting to use tools as simplistic as the turn of phrase and line breaks to carry her poetry, I suppose she's made it something that even a poetry cynic or an amateur would cherish. In Catherine Weiner's words for The Guardian Beacon, her poems are accessible and entertaining, yet her form is classical, her technique razor sharp. She is read by people who don't really read poetry, yet she maintains the respect of her peers. Reviewers praise her touching, sensitive, witty evocations of love, loss, dislocation, nostalgia, while fans talk of greeting her at readings with claps and cheers that would not sound out of place at a rock concert. Today, I'm going to kill something, anything. I have had enough of being ignored, and today I'm going to play God. It is an ordinary day, a sort of grey with boredom stirring in the streets. I squash a fly against the window with my thumb. We did that at school. Shakespeare. It was in another language, another fly is in another language. I breathe out talent on the glass to write my name. I am a genius. I could be anything at all with half the chance. But today I'm going to change the world. Something's world. The cat avoids me. The cat knows I am a genius and has hidden itself. I pour the goldfish down the bog. I pull the chain. I see that it is good. The budgie is panicking. Once a fortnight, I walk the 2 miles into town for signing on. They don't appreciate my autograph. There is nothing left to kill. I dial the radio and tell the man he's talking to a superstar. He cuts me off. I get a bread knife and go out. The pavements glitter suddenly. I touch your arm. Top exam board asks schools to destroy book containing knife poem. Britain's biggest exam board has been accused of censorship after it removed a poem containing references to knife crime from the GCSE syllabus. Officials of the AQA board said their request that schools destroy the anthology containing the Carol Ann Duffy poem Education for Leisure had been triggered by concerns in 2 schools about references to knives. A spokeswoman confirmed the decision had been made in the context of the current spate of knife-related murders. But poets yesterday condemned the move, saying such censorship fundamentally missed the point of the poem, which they said could help children debate the causes of street violence. That is an article from The Guardian by Polly Curtis dated 4th September 2008. Education for Leisure was originally published in 1985, and as per Duffy's literary agent, when Thatcher was in power and there were rising social problems and crime. It was written as a plea for education. Censorship of literature for the benefit of children has been the subject of heated debates for a long while now. In 2023, 2 of John Rain's books, The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska, were removed from a public library in his home state, Indiana, for having adult content. Even back then, well before global political headwinds shifted to what they are today, efforts to ban books had soared across the United States in the last 2 years, driven by conservative groups and lawmakers who have targeted books they view as inappropriate. That's from the New York Times. I have never thought of censorship as effective means to raising intelligent and empathetic children. After all, which adolescent has ever appreciated a no? Open and honest discourse, on the other hand, probably not something with assured results, but hey, still better than a blindfolded pretense. And a poem like Education for Leisure sets the table by offering an, if painful, insight into the psyche of a troubled young adult who feels compelled to go to extraordinary lengths for the fulfillment of a very fundamental need, the need to be seen and heard. The speaker announces intent in the very first line. They've had enough of being ignored and are going to kill something today. Anything. The line "I'm going to play God" is my favorite, not just because I like the idea of perceiving life and death as pieces on a game board, but also because that's the exact line of thought that someone who feels betrayed by their own lottery of life might have. The setting is perfect, grey, ordinary, and just anticipatory enough. The speaker squashes a fly against the window, the first victim. As the fly dies, the speaker recollects studying Shakespeare and not being able to make sense of it. It was in another language. And now, in some twisted way, they've swung the unfairness around and inflicted it on the insect. I believe death is the other language that the fly now exists in. I love the next couple of lines. I breathe out talent on the glass to write my name. I am a genius. I could be anything at all with half the chance. The reckless claim of greatness, the facade of being unruffled, and the anger over the system that lives in the undertones. The speaker proceeds to set those feelings aside and declare intent again. They're going to change the world, but something's world. Something small, voiceless, at arm's reach. The cat that hides from the genius, but for how long? The goldfish that falls down the toilet, the parrot that starts panicking. Once a fortnight, the speaker walks to sign on, presumably for unemployment benefits. The people there don't seem to fancy him or his autograph. The final straw comes when their introduction as a superstar falls flat without acknowledgement on the radio. The line, "I get a bread knife and go out," is interesting for its choice of R, further emphasizing the idea that the speaker feels lonesome despite being in a social setup and not because of its absence. The speaker grabs the bread knife and steps into the street with all of the sharp edges, not just of the knife, but also of their own. The world comes alive, the pavements glitter, and the poem ends on an ominous note. You feel something on your arm. What should education achieve? A pool of young adults, preferably homogeneous, that can fit various briefs commanded by the magic hand of the market economy? At least for where I come from, not just country, but also in terms of the line of education and age, that seems to be the unfortunate truth. Maybe the system's more evolved elsewhere, but at a broader level, the system's patience for the odd and the exceptional, the different and the genius, has a long way to go. I've always thought of crimes, at least those that appear unmotivated, to be the direct outcome of a failed human capital ecosystem. And there may certainly be more nuanced and intricate arguments put forth, but at least for the sake of this video, I think we can agree that as much as a young adult doesn't want to be told no, they also want to feel yes at a very fundamental level. And when the home, the teacher, and the radio fade, the bird, the cat, and the young man on the street pay the price. Now that's a conversation we should be having. Thank you for watching this video from the Verse Vault. If you enjoyed it, remember to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new here, I hope you find enough to stick around and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.